My name is Jim Kerr. I'm an investigator with the Black Vault UFO investigation team. On April 4th, 2020, we received a request from a witness in the San Diego, California area to investigate a UFO sighting. The sighting occurred on March 31st at approximately 8:30 p.m. There were up to 7 illuminated objects over the Pacific Ocean that were visible from Tijuana, Mexico to Laguna Beach, California, which is a distance of approximately 108 miles. To view the video submitted by our witness, see the narrative portion of our investigation. As of today's date, April 9th, 2020, this case has been solved. The lights over the Pacific were a military training exercise. On April 8th, 2020, I sent the footage that we received from our witness to a friend of mine who is a U.S. Air Force retired lieutenant colonel. He viewed the footage and responded by stating in essence that the lights over the Pacific that were seen on March 31st was definitely a military flare exercise. This sighting was further confirmed by air traffic control radio traffic from KSAN San Diego between 8 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. on March 31st. In the following audio, you will hear communication between the traffic control and the military.
SoCal, Raider 28. Raider 28, SoCal. Yeah, Raider 28 is currently in the Whiskey area. Just letting you know we're going to be doing battlefield elimination, dropping heavy flares out here, so if you get calls about it, it's us. Raider 28, I appreciate that call, thank you. And we've checked in with Beaver, just letting you know. Cody 2, cleared into Bravo. Raider 28, if you could just let me know when you're done with that, appreciate it. Raider 28, copies all, it'll be about 1 hour to an hour and a half. Okay, thanks, that'll be good, I'll keep track, appreciate it.
Here's additional radio traffic from air traffic control advising commercial aircraft of the military flare exercise.
Intentional aircraft, if you see flares southwest of the shoreline, it's a military exercise. Scouts 3455, SoCal departure, radar contact. You may see flares out to the southwest. It's military activity.
Without any doubt, the objects seen over the Pacific Ocean on March 31st were military flares. Make sure to check the narrative portion of our investigation for additional video footage of this incident and also video footage of similar incidences where the military was deploying flares. After the Black Vault was contacted regarding this investigation, it was learned that Tom DeLonge, rock star and CEO of To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science, posted a UFO and story on Instagram from the same evening and general vicinity. Tom DeLonge writes on his Instagram account, quote, verified. So last night I get a text from somebody that there was a UAP right off of the beach where I live. I ran to my balcony and saw it split into 2 pieces and raised vertically. I grabbed Marie, jumped in my truck, and went down to the beach. We were the only ones on the beach last night as this light disappeared, reappeared, broke into 3 pieces, and stacked vertically with one little red dot flying around the top, then disappeared for the rest of the evening. This video doesn't show much, but we were up quite late watching the light dance about a half a mile to a mile off the beach. It was huge, and it was fiery orange. Of course, I called up Louis Elizondo, and I was there. And he was telling me all these things I was supposed to do with location, geographic details, weather, altitude, and distance, etc. Of course, I was completely useless when it came to those details. But yes, big deal last night in Encinitas, California. Louis checked immediately, and there was no flights in the area, except one that I had my eyes on the entire time. No military, no boats, and a bunch of hovering lights that were stacked on top of each other. Wild. Who knows? End quote. Coming up is a video that Tom DeLonge posted on his Instagram account in conjunction with the narrative regarding the UFO sighting on March 31st. Before we get into analyzing Tom DeLonge's video footage, I wanted to give you a little background about myself. Since the 1970s, I've been an amateur astronomer and amateur photographer. I'm familiar with astrophotography and also taking photos with various different types of cameras attached to a variety of different telescopes. When I viewed this footage, I realized that this was not one of the military flares that were deployed over the Pacific Ocean. Having videoed and taken photos of numerous celestial objects, I immediately recognized this as a out-of-focus celestial object. Contrary to what many observers may think about DeLonge's UFO video, the object is not pulsating, nor is it changing shape or size. The effect you see is the result of the cell phone camera attempting to autofocus on the object. What's happening here is the object is going out of focus, and it's several frames. It actually does achieve focus on the object. Let's take a look at this footage frame by frame with consecutive frames. Keep in mind, this camera is on autofocus. So in these consecutive frames, we're going to see the camera hunting for focus to come into focus. And because it's autofocus at night, any camera, especially a cell phone camera, is going to have issues with focusing. Now you can see here that it's coming into focus, a little bit sharper focus. And then keep in mind these are frame by frame, consecutive frames. And here it's coming out of focus again. So what we're seeing here is a excellent example of a camera, video camera, cell phone video camera, hunting for focus, trying to maintain focus on an object. In an attempt to identify the object in DeLonge's video, I used Stellarium, which is a planetary software that shows exactly what you see when you look up at the stars. You can set the location of Stellarium to anywhere on the planet, anytime on the planet, and see exactly what objects, celestial objects, are in the night sky. This Stellarium screenshot represents exactly what one would see on the night of March 31st, 2020 at 8:30 p.m. from the San Diego Encinitas area. At this date and time, the planet Venus was the brightest object in the night sky. Planet Venus is only second to the moon's illumination. So it's the second brightest object that we will see in our night sky. During this position of Venus, it was directly west, and at 8:30 p.m. was approximately 35 degrees above the horizon. Another reason for Venus's brightness is that it is relatively close to the planet Earth, and also its cloud tops reflect most of the sunlight it receives. For more information about the planet Venus, we placed a video titled Venus Crash Course Astronomy number 14 into the narrative portion of this investigation. It's also important to note that the planet Venus goes through phases just like the Earth's moon does. Again, view the instructional video Venus Crash Course number 14 in the body of our investigation. Here's an illustration from the website Earth Sky showing Venus's phase at 50% on approximately March 31st, 2020. Even at 50%, Venus is still the second brightest object in our night sky. Some may ask why DeLong's video didn't capture this 50% illumination or phase of Venus. The answer to that is with the cell phone camera or any camera set on autofocus and auto settings as far as exposures is not going to capture the 50% status of Venus that night. It just won't happen. You need a more advanced camera. Like in my situation, when I take photos of planetary objects, everything's done on Nikon, higher dollar cameras, where they're set on manual settings. All the exposures are manual, and at that point, you would be able to get the actual phase that Venus is in. And here's an example of one of my photos. I took this photo several years ago with a Nikon camera attached to a telescope. This is a single exposure photo. There's been no Photoshop. There's been no stacking of images to, make it sharper. But this is a crescent phase of Venus, with a higher end camera on manual settings. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the planet Venus. Tom DeLonge's photo is on the left, a still image, and at that point, the object was in focus, as much focus as he was able to obtain with his cell phone. On the right is a photo I took several years ago of the planet Venus, and it's not the greatest photo, but and again, it's not a stacked image, it's not a processed image. There is some chromatic aberration in the photo, so you see some colors, and you could also see that in Tom DeLonge's photo as well. But this is a good comparison as to the shape of Venus. If you notice, neither one are perfectly round. They're kind of oblong in shape, and that's due to the phase of Venus. But with its brilliance, we're not going to get a sharp, we can't see a sharp image, a super sharp image with either photo. My photo is a little sharper than DeLonge's image, but again, this is just an example of showing the phase of Venus, which was, approximately 50%, on March 31st, to show the shape of the planet. In addition to the chromatic aberration in these photos, there's also a orangish yellowish tint to that, and this is caused due to the Earth's atmosphere. The planet Venus, was filmed at 30 to 35 degree above the Earth's horizon, and so just like the moon, when the moon rises, if everybody's seen it when the moon rises, it's a reddish orange in color, and it's the same with Venus, at a low altitude, because what's happening is, you're looking or filming through more of the Earth's atmosphere, and that causes a distortion, in the photo, and will also add a yellowish or orangish color to the object. Just like the moon. When you see the moon rise, and it's orange or yellow, real yellow, that's due to looking through more of the Earth's atmosphere. In this out of focus frame from DeLonge's video, we could see how orange the object is. Again, the reason for this is it's out of focus, and the object, planet Venus, was low in the horizon, and we were looking through more of the Earth's atmosphere, which causes the planet out of focus to look more orangish in color. Again, same as the moon, when it rises, we'll see an orange or a reddish moon, and looking through all the atmosphere, and also the pollutants that are in the atmosphere, attribute to this as well. John Greenwald has attempted to contact Tom DeLonge to interview him, regarding his sighting and video footage, but Tom DeLonge has not responded yet. If he does respond, we will add the interview with him to our investigation. The Black Vault investigation has handled numerous investigations regarding misidentified celestial objects. Many people report them as moving, which is a effect called autokinetic effect, where the object appears to be moving up in the sky. Um, it's very common to misidentify planets, stars as UAPs, UFOs. And planet Venus is right at the top of the list of misidentified, UFOs. And I believe that's what we're seeing in Tom DeLonge's video. You know, based on my experience, um, the years that I've been photographing celestial objects, attaching a variety of different cameras to, the telescopes I own. I not only have DSLRs, but I've got more advanced astronomy cameras, dedicated strictly for astronomy, attaching them to, a variety of different types of telescopes I own. So based on what I see in this video, the out of focus object, going in and out of focus, based on the data from Stellarium from March 31st, 2020 at 8:30 p.m., it showed the position of Venus low in the horizon, also the brightest object in the western sky. Based on the frame where the object is in focus and comparing it to photographs that I have taken of the planet Venus, based on the evidence presented here, I strongly believe that Tom DeLonge videoed the planet Venus. It's a common mistake. It's not the first time that somebody's misidentified Venus, as a UAP or a UFO. I wish that we were able to ask him some questions. Maybe in the future we will, and we could add to this investigation. But and again, there's nothing wrong with misidentifying something. Everybody I know, myself included, has made the mistake of misidentifying, a UFO, flying saucer, So it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing to worry about. It just happens. I've had a couple instances where I've taken videos and of objects, not planetary objects, daytime videos, where, it turned out to be a mylar balloon or, whatever, but, or a jet, light reflecting off a jet. So it can happen. And Venus is at the top of the list, of nighttime celestial objects that are misidentified as UFOs. So with that said, I'll conclude this investigation, this video portion. Please, check out the narrative, the written report, which is done by John Greenwald, and this is a good learning experience for everybody. To realize that it's very easy to misidentify a celestial object. Thank you.